Hi everyone, Kai here, and welcome to my guide on Forestcraft. What is Forestcraft? Forestcraft's main theme in Shadowverse are their ability to swarm fairies on the board and deal classical combos. They have bounce-like effects to return an enemy follower back to their hand, or even your own. Many of Forestcraft's effects are gained based on the number of cards played during your turn. You can keep track of this on the bottom left corner of your match, just above the hand size icon. This helps you to be able to activate certain combos only Forestcraft can pull off. I'll give you an example of how this works. Imagine you have 4 play point orbs. You have Elf Metallurgist in your hand. And as a fanfare to deal 2 damage to an enemy follower, you have at least 2 other cards were played during this turn. Fanfare is a term which will activate the effect if it is played on the board. You want to activate its effect, so you have to play 2 other cards in order to do so. You notice you have Fairy Circle in your hand. You play it to put 2 fairies into your hand that counts as 1 card played. Next, you play either of the fairies on the board to count as 2 cards played. With 2 play point orbs left, you are now also be able to activate Elf Metallurgist to use its effect. Gameplay and deck building. You'd want to learn a few card game terms, so please refer to the description below with the link and study some of them. There are several game plans that are basic in Shadowverse. I did say in my Swordcraft guide that you can use this knowledge with other classes. If you wish to skip this section, please use the annotations in the top left corner of the video. For new players who want to watch my guide for the first time, please stay. So moving on. Get board control. Play your low-cost followers that will flood the board and get even or an advantage with your opponent. Hit early phase damage. If you have strong early curve, you can win the game between turns 6 to 7, since you are constantly pressuring your opponents and they can ignore their followers to target the enemy leader. Efficient trades. Try to avoid trading if you have the option to go face, forcing your opponent to trade for you. Don't be afraid to evolve. I'll get into this later on in the video. Build tempo. Efficiently use your play point orbs and gain the advantage on the board to get efficient trades. Simply put, play a follower each turn if you can. Even out your board. Don't buff up one follower. Spread the stats out so it's harder for your opponent to clear or trade all of them. Plan ahead. Look at the situation of the game, the cards in your hand, the hand size, how the board is developing. Plan what you want to do in the next turn and how much face damage you can do or what efficient trades you can make to your advantage. Keep in mind what deck your opponent uses and play around it. You don't need to overcommit. Don't have to play all the cards in your hand and get board wiped the next turn. Save some of your cards that can help you flood the field again should your board be wiped. Evolving is a unique mechanic in Shadowverse. You can play an evolution point on a follower and evolve them, granting them extra stats and activating their effects. Please note that if an evolved follower leaves the field and comes back by card effect, it will revert back to its pre-evolved form, resetting stat changes. You can play around with this. The timing of using an evolution point is important. You are either going to evolve a smaller follower to get small value trades, evolve a previously played follower to push extra face damage, or evolve a follower that has not been buffed yet, again to even out your board. You'll learn how to use your evolution point efficiently as you get used to the game over time. I'll use the Elven Princess Mage as an example. When you evolve Elven Princess Mage, it has an effect to put 2 fairies into your hand and change their cost to 0. What this means is that you'll be able to save up play point orbs and pull off Forestcraft's deadly combos. Now I'll be moving on to deck building. One of the popular decks in Forestcraft is the Tempo mid-range Forestcraft deck. With the Darkness Evolved card expansion, the deck is made stronger with consistency, synergy, and high burst damage. These 3 cards are the key in winning with Forestcraft. Rhinoceros has a fanfare to gain +1/0 for each card played this turn until end of turn. Elf Knight Cynthia has an effect to give +1/0 to each other allied followers that attacks, with the addition of summoning 2 fairies on the board upon evolving. And finally, Crystalia Tia has a fanfare to summon a Crystalia Eve, a 4/4. If at least 2 other cards were played during this turn, Crystalia Eve will be given Ward and evolved. This is a free evolution, which means you'll be able to use your own evolution point orb on another follower. Here are the list of cards in a Temple Forestcraft deck. Please note that this deck list is not a must, since you can use other cards in the deck. For the link to the deck list, please refer to the description below. I'd like to make a note that Ancient Elf is one other key card you can utilize to return cards like Rhinoceros back to your hand. A well-timed combo with these cards can be devastating. Here are a few cards you can consider putting in a Temple Forestcraft deck. Altered Fate lets you discard your hand and draw the same amount. This is most useful with the next card, Path to Purgatory. At the end of your turn, deal 6 damage to all enemies if you have at least 30 shadows. Shadows are denoted with this symbol and can be viewed in a match by press and holding your deck. A simple term for shadows is your graveyard. Whenever your followers die, they count towards shadows. Playing a spell also counts towards shadows. Forestcraft have all the means to reach 30 shadows with fairies, which is why they can utilize these cards. The deck has ways to swarm the board with fairies, and you can utilize the key cards in your deck. You can win the game early or mid-game. However, the deck struggles a lot against control decks with big wards such as Front Guard General or Earthsigil Runecrafts. For other Forestcraft deck, please refer to the description below. That is all for the class guide for Forestcraft. For other class guide, please use the annotations in the top right corner of the video. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and if you have any other questions or want to give suggestions on what class guide should I do next, please comment on the video and subscribe for more Shadowverse videos in the future. Thanks for watching!
Take my